What is going on, everybody? Man, Eric Wilson in for the Sports Arena on a Monday night. And as you know, we got the show rolling each and every week. We are breaking down teams within their respective division, giving you our thoughts on our picks, and just kind of giving you an overview of what we think is going to happen this year. Now, we are discussing tonight the AFC West, which features the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, still the LA Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Denver Broncos. And at some point, I will pull up what our schedule and what we did last year was so that y'all could see how we all fared. But before we do that, it's only fitting that I get the crew in here tonight. Of course, we got the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price. 806 Sports is in the building. Good evening, madam. How is Amarillo doing this evening?
Hot, really hot. You know what? I have decided now that, maybe hell is cooler than Texas.
Well, I can say that living in one of the three hottest states, I can empathize with you, but I don't think either one of us are hotter than this man right here, being in Arizona, forks up the left coast to west coast, where it's 120 on a good day. Mike Caratenuto's in the building.
Well, look, that is true. You're right, because it is summertime. But on the serious side, obviously, first time in 84 years, a hurricane rolling through California. So the last days, we actually got rain yesterday, but don't fall out of your seat, Eric. It rained for about 45 seconds when I was at the ASU soccer game. Nice little sprinkle came down for about a minute and a half. And, we got like a light sprinkle. But, yeah, no, Megan, when you said that, I know it's been hot in Texas. I've seen it. But you want to come to a heated up oven, not even a preheated oven like I told Eric when I was in Florida. It's not even like your preheating oven. It's just an oven outside. I'll switch you places for a few days once we get back.
The difference this year, because we have desert climate like you, Mike, but the difference this year is we've had humidity because we've actually had rain, and it's a different kind of hot.
It is. It really is. Last but not least, the man who is clearly sleeping at the wheel because he's missing out on everything, but yet he still feels like, he can talk all his noise and no one's going to say anything to him. Of course, Sideline Sports' own NFL alumni media, the man, the legend, Mr. John Shear is in the building. What's going on, brother?
Man, I can't believe we had to listen to Mike talk about climate for like 2 minutes. This guy's talking about climate.
Okay, because he's up in Pennsylvania, he just seems to feel like it doesn't
First of all, it's time
him.
to learn how to tell time. Because, Eric, you've been in the service industry, and you know those people that are like, I waited 10 minutes for a drink? Stare at a clock. And I told you this, Eric. You remember this? Yeah. My programming teacher, Megan, at ASU, my programming teacher, and we literally could not talk, could not write, because she got tired of people saying, and even back then, it was taking forever. She made us stare at a clock for 10 minutes. You want to know how miserable that was? It literally was like we sat there for at least 35 minutes. Nobody in their right mind is going to sit and wait 10 minutes, as Eric and I both know, haven't been in the service industry. Nobody's waiting 10 minutes for anything.
Mike, if you sit and don't talk for 10 minutes, we won't be miserable.
John, I'll be listening to every word you say just because it's an absolute.
And we starting shots are fired here tonight on the Sports Arena. But all right, let's go over our picks from last year, just giving everybody an indication of where we thought these teams were going to fare. And shout out to the Queen of Hoop right there. You can see she was spot on with the Chargers. A lot of us, I will say for the most part, gave the Raiders way too much love. We gave the Denver Broncos way too much love. And needless to say, Kansas City is going to be Kansas City. But you know what? That's actually where we're going to start tonight. We're going to start with the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like this is the easiest one to get through. And, whether your name is Kerry Johnson or whether your name is Robert Hill or whether your name is anybody who is a part of the fandom that is Kansas City, you already know going into this year, if you didn't have one on your back last year, you got an even bigger one on you this year. But at some point, I think we have to ask the question, does Kansas City really feel like they are the hunted, given the fact that they are the champs? So everybody, you saw what we did last year. And you know what, Mike, typically I do ladies first, but I'm going to start with you tonight because you are the closest to Kansas City. I believe, between you and Megan. I don't know, flip a coin. But regardless, I mean, this is a no-brainer, right? Kansas City is winning this division. We just don't know by how many games.
I mean, look, I hate to say a no-brainer. And, yeah, I mean, it's to the point where I think that Kellen Moore being in San Diego is going to be huge. But for Kansas City, look, losing Eric Bieniemy is tough. But your guy, boy.
Where's he at?
Eric Bieniemy.
No,
he's in Washington.
Oh, okay. Because you said San Diego.
No. I meant like we're gonna get San Diego as the saying. I think San Diego will be a little different this year. Be tougher.
You mean the LA Chargers, Mike?
Yeah, the LA Chargers. Sorry, God, that's 15 push-ups. I'm not gonna do any in a year.
I was letting to see how far I can jack that one up.
That's baby. 15. Anyway, so the LA Chargers. Yeah, they need to go back to that city. No, but all kidding aside, it's one of those things where I look at it and. For Kansas City, yeah, I mean, of course, they're not. Andy Reid's still there. Steve Spagnuolo's still there. Yes, a new offensive coordinator, and we all know that, because of John's rants last year, and Ray let him hear, Tyreek Hill's gone and blah, 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 receivers, and yet they just go through the AFC, challenged, yes, they had tough games, get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, and now it's just a march back to it for him. So I don't – when you look at
won the Super Bowl. Don't do that.
No, I said they won. I didn't quote anything. I
said
they
won. They won, but they wouldn't have won if it wasn't for that turf.
Okay.
If it wasn't for Gannon and that turf, they'd have won the Super Bowl.
Hey, this isn't 1972. Zip it. You're done.
I'm just saying.
1972.
All right, good. Mike. What's your record? What's your record for Kansas City?
My record, man. See, I'm looking at that, Eric. Like their schedule. I mean, again, week 1, we know they got the Lions. The Jags, that's another playoff rematch. I mean, the Bears, the Fighting Jets, obviously, now with your best friend, your second best friend, Aaron Rodgers, because we all know your first best friend is Kirk Cousins, Eric. But we got to put Aaron Rodgers as your second best friend in the Wolfpack. But look, I mean, I think, it is going to be tougher because, of course, they play they play Buffalo, of course, again. And that is week – that's late. That's week 14. Buffalo Patriots. I mean, the Bengals too again. Like I'm gonna go 11-6.
Okay.
And I know it sounds crazy low for Chiefs fans, and I think they'll be good, but it's when you get the first place schedule, as you and I know, it's only 3 different games than the rest of your division. And if those teams last year are worse, then that's an advantage for you. If they're as good as you, then it'll be tough. But yeah, I'm going with 11-6, man. I mean, it's AFC, man, it's the quarterbacks. We talked about it, Eric. It's just insane.
It is. It is. And you know, and I definitely want to hear from John. Really quick, I do have to acknowledge this. Mr. Hill, I understand, baby. You got love like I got love. But as they say, happy wife, happy life. So but I recognize, don't feel bad. We bleed green all day, every day. So John Shear, you know I had to ask you this question, brother, because it is you. With Eric Bieniemy now in Washington, will we begin to see a small wrinkle in the offense that is the Kansas City Chiefs? And what do you think their record will be?
No, I don't think they change much, because if you go and look at that Super Bowl, and I broke down the stats, uh, 14 of Patrick Mahomes' passes were from 5 yards or behind the line of scrimmage, from their line of scrimmage to 5 yards. That's how far they traveled. 14 of his 21 passes. He only threw one ball 20 yards down the field in that Super Bowl. The other passes were only 10-yard passes. So everything, all but one of his passes were 10 yards or shorter. That's their game is to throw it short. Their game is to check it down. That's their game now, because they don't have the weapons to throw the football down the field. So no, I don't think there is any wrinkle. I do think they lose a little bit, losing Eric Bieniemy, because you lose a great offensive coordinator like that. I think you're going to take a step back in some regard. I think they win 12 games in this division, and I think that's fair. I think 11 is a little bit low, but I think 12 is fair. And by the way, when the Eagles lost that Super Bowl on that field, that they had almost 80 sacks that year. They relied on the 4-man pass rush. They couldn't get a 4-man pass rush, which was their bread and butter to get to the quarterback. If they had that bread and butter, they win that Super Bowl.
Hey, John.
Thanks. I just want to make sure I get
John,
that out.
I don't need you talking about what my team did or didn't do in the Super Bowl when my team was actually in the Super Bowl. So do me a favor.
I'm defending
It's very
you.
rare that Mike and I get on the same page. But you know what? This ain't 1972. Zip your lip, because I know what my team needed to do. But I appreciate your concern. Let me go and welcome in the sports reporter without pay. My co-host, Mr. Ray Lynn, is in the building. Good evening, sir.
Hey, man, what am I walking into?
The normal.
Somebody tell John, if my auntie had a penis, she'd be my uncle. Don't they? If they did this and they did that, they didn't do it. They lost.
That's it. That is totally it. So, all right, really quick before I get to Ray, to you, and of course then to the Queen of Hoop, let me just go on and give you my assessment of this. I'll keep it short and sweet. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. To me, that is the hat trick. That is the trifecta. That is put your money where your mouth is, because as long as those three guys are running the show on and off the field, really nothing more needs to be said. We know what that defense under Steve Spagnuolo, that Mike and I know very well. It's just one of those things where when I look at it, listen, I agree with you, John, 12-5. That's what it's going to be for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I say that only because I feel like there is a team in their division. For me, it's a make or break year, and we'll get to them in a moment. But Queen, let me turn it to you real quick, and then Ray, I'll have you close out the Chiefs. Where do you think Kansas City is going to fall this year?
So Kansas City is one of those teams that you have to, if you want to get their record, instead of counting their wins, you should count their losses, because there's going to be way less losses. For me, I have them losing week 11 to Philly. I have them losing week 14 to Buffalo. And then I have them beating Cincinnati in week 17. I do think that they're going to sweep Denver and Vegas both. And the only one that they split the division with is LA. No push-ups for me. Thank you. And last season they went 14-13. And they got a bye week 10. I have them going
14-3.
Oh, excuse me, 14-3. I have them going 13-4 this season.
All right, fair enough. And see, Mike, Megan would be the reason that on Christmas Eve I actually give both of you a Christmas present, because she has my team beating the defending champs. So that might be why. I don't know yet. But Ray, we're talking about the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions, and where we think. A lot of us are basically saying 10. No one's saying 10, 11, 12, 13 wins. This team goes like where as far as Patrick Mahomes goes, and even though Bieniemy is now in Washington, this team is still going to get the job done.
What was all the numbers again? Megan, you said 13.
Megan said 13. John and I both said 12. Mike said 11.
I can't see 11. I just can't see anything. And the crazy thing is, I don't think they're going to have like this dominant season because they've now reached the point where they don't care about the regular season. Like, they're not like this team that's like, oh, we want to go 17-0. Like, they start off every year, and then in like the first 6 games, they have 1 or 2 losses, and people are like, oh, Kansas City's down, and then they run off 7 wins and finish 14-3, and they're back in the AFC Championship. So, like with this team, the regular season record isn't as important as what's going to happen in the postseason, where it's their conference until somebody says otherwise. But since Patrick Mahomes been a starter, they ain't won no less than 12 games. It's hard to go against that, man. It's kind of like some things are, like I'm going to stay black and die, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win 12 games. And Mike Tomlin coach teams won't win. They won't go less than 500. It's like certain things you can count on. They're
going less than 500 this year.
I don't think so, man.
Hey, we in the AFC West, Megan. I'm just saying what it's been so far, right? Like Mahomes, you can pencil him in for 12 wins, 300 yards a game, and 3 touchdowns, even when. And I'm gonna bring this up every chance I get. Do we got the footage from last year when John was talking about how bad they was gonna be and how much they was gonna miss Tyreek Hill? Oh, we're gonna see what Mahomes is made of, and all they did was go out, win 14 games, and win the Super Bowl, and Mahomes won MVP. Is that what happened last year, Eric?
That is exactly what happened last year, sir.
In this about the Super Bowl, 20 of his passes went 10 yards or less. He was afraid to throw the ball down the football field.
Hold on, real quick. You said in what game?
In the Super Bowl, he was afraid to throw the football down the football field.
What game are we talking about? We're talking about a 17-game season where they lost 3 games, and now you're talking about the Super Bowl. Again, since Patrick Mahomes has been a full-time starter, his basement, Jonathan, is the AFC Championship game.
His two of his touchdowns went behind the line of scrimmage. Behind the line of scrimmage.
Dude, John, hold on. This is sad because he also said the same thing about the Eagles not being able to sack
for him.
He also said the Eagles couldn't sack Patrick Mahomes. Guess what? If you get the ball out quick, you're not getting sacked. Who cares if they're not 50 yards downfield? They won the game. It's not
I'm not allowed to talk about the Eagles, so
You're right, you're not. And speaking of not being able to talk about the Eagles or talking about me, one of the few people who knows how to get under my skin, what do I always say, y'all? Y'all already know. I am not, or I'll put it to you as I say, I ain't a hard man to find, Dom. Go back to drinking your little Moscato and then come talk to me when you get on my level. We're going to keep it moving. I'm not even taking a commercial break right now because we're going to keep this going because these comments are blowing up. So we're going to keep this show rolling.
Hey,
so
Eric,
let's move. Yes, sir.
But I want to make sure I finish addressing John.
Oh, right? I'm sorry, please.
Because when we talk about like, oh, well, they were scared to do this, Tyreek Hill. Last I checked, John, this game is only played for one reason. It's just that simple. And they did that. They went out and won the Super Bowl. Like, how do you say a team that won the Super Bowl was sorely missing a guy who was sitting at home?
They were sure they couldn't push the football down the football field.
They pushed it down far enough to score more points than the other team to win the game.
Well, that was Gannon's fault.
They beat Cincinnati. Listen, man. Again, my point, Eric, is they're going to win at least 12 games, 12-5. And I think the 5 games that they may lose, again, is because the regular season don't mean that much to them. I think Philly might smoke them because the game is going to mean more to Philly, right? That game is going to mean a lot. That's why
I have them having issues in week 17 because they don't care.
They might not even be playing in week 17.
Right.
And you got to think, when you're as good as they are, right, you're going to get everybody's best. Teams who are like on the brink of contending, right? Like, for instance, they get my Lions on opening night. For the Lions, that's a measuring stick game. Any team that thinks they might be good when they play Kansas City, this is a measuring stick game. We got to go play our best against the defending champs, right? So they're going to get every team's best shot, which most teams is not going to be good enough, right? They're just good, man. They're just too good. No matter who's on the field, you can put Tyreek Hill left, and you can put McCole Hartman on the field with him. You can put Robinson on the field. Who did the kid Kadarius Toney they went and got? Juju Smith-Schuster's gone now, but he was there and made him. Like, whoever you put on the field with 15. I said this before. They put these memes out about who's the best quarterback receiver tandem in the league. You can have Allen and Diggs. You can have Chase and Burrow. It's 15 and whoever he's throwing the ball to. Like, it's just that simple. Like, so I got him at 12-5 and being modest with 12.
Ray, I'll say this too real quick, Eric. And look, if the offense is sputtering early, which I don't think it will be, I'm just saying It ain't going to be about Patrick Mahomes he's not making these throws, this and that. It's going to be about our best friend, Matt Nagy, because he was back in Kansas City after he got fired in Chicago, went back to Kansas
He was a really good offensive
and
coordinator.
now he's the offensive coordinator. So that being said, everybody's just going to be hammering the offensive coordinator.
I'd really be curious to see what Kansas City's record is like in the months of November and December.
But here's the thing, right? Last point to that, because you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. And John, you will definitely know this as well as Mike and Megan. At one point during almost the middle of the season, Kansas City was not atop their division. They were kind of 3-5 or 4-4,
but they
whatever.
were 11-2 by the end of December.
And then you said last year, right?
I think it was either last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, they had
2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were like 5-4 or something like that.
Right. And then all of a sudden they just strung themselves off to the promised land.
They finished 12-5. Like that's something.
Right.
They do that. That was, let me see. They started off 2 years ago. They won week 1, lost 2 and 3, won 4, lost 5, won 6, lost 7. So at that point, they're 3-4 with a losing record.
Right.
And then they win the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They finished 9-1. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do. November and December. They just hit another gear, man. They went undefeated in November, December that year.
Let's move on to this team here, the Los Angeles Chargers. And again, here is our records from last year. Megan, like I said, spot on at 10-7. Ray, you gave them a lot of love last year at 13-4. So did Mike and John with 12-5. But so Megan, how do you feel about the Chargers this year, since you were the only one of us that was spot on?
I have them doing the exact same record. I don't think that they've made enough changes. They have made a few changes, but they've lost a few pieces as well. This is one of those, I think, similar type of seasons to like what Dak is facing, is kind of like a put up or shut up type of year. I don't think we're quite there with Justin Herbert yet, but I think like if this season doesn't go well this year and then next season doesn't go well, I think he's in that same position that Dak is in. So I think that we could see a coaching change by the end of this season. I see them splitting the division evenly. They're the only team out of this division that I see splitting. They beat Tennessee week 2 at Tennessee. They beat Minnesota at Minnesota because Kirk Cousins is weak. Week 3, they lose to Dallas. And then I have them beating Chicago. They lose at the Jets. That's week 8 and 9. Then they beat Detroit. Yeah, Dom, we don't need you coming in all the comments that I've seen you in all day long telling us what week our team plays your team. Get your players off of suspension, and then we'll worry about Detroit. And then I have them losing to Baltimore week 12. I have them beating New England, and then I have them losing to Buffalo in week 16. So I got them at 10-7.
Okay. My question is Austin Eckler really going to play this year? Because even though he is...
Yet to be seen.
Huh?
Yet to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that he was kind of the, he was the horse. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He did what he needed to do. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, can they stay healthy? Because I like Herbert, and I think Herbert doesn't get the true recognition, but he don't have no pieces around him, with the exception of Eckler last year, So what I'm concerned about when I look at the Chargers is, number one, Mike's favorite guy, Kellen Moore, how he is going to either help or hurt Justin Herbert. And then number two, you always going to be playing second fiddle to the Chiefs. And that's even saying if you are on that level. Listen, Joey Bosa can be Joey Bosa, but the defense is only one part of it. And at the end of the day, even though Mike and I will sit here and forever say defense wins championships, as Ray always says, you got to score points to win the game. Don't matter how you get there. If you put up more points than the other team, when that clock hits 0-0-0 in the fourth quarter, guess what? You won, the other team lost. It's just that simple. So I look at them and I got to go one under, Megan. I got to say 9-8 because I haven't seen it. Now, I reserve the right within the next 2 weeks to change my mind on this, but I don't think I'm going to. I sit at 9-8 right now. Ray, what about you?
Some of the people that Megan hate when she likes to say they were good in spite of him, right? Like it's the coach. It ain't Justin Herbert. We've all seen that. Like, I don't know how this guy still got a job. I don't know how he's not on the hot. I don't know. It's him. It's clearly him. Like, Herbert hasn't done anything since he walked into this league but been a stud. And I think we all saw it last year. Who were they playing when he got hurt? Cracked ribs or something and got back up.
It was like week 2 or 3. It was really early.
That was against the Chiefs, and he came back in the game. Yeah, he came back in the game.
Man, this kid's just he's a gamer, right? Like, I think he threw 5,000 in his rookie season or something crazy. Like, he hasn't done anything but play well. I mean, for them to go 10-7 with all the injuries, even when you said they don't have the pieces, well, a lot of those guys was hurt. Offensively, the Chargers might have more weapons than just about anybody. Like, when you combine Eckler with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, like, and that quarterback they got the weapons. And is Everett still there? Is Everett still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, listen, they got the weapons. It's a matter of those guys being healthy and on the field. If they're healthy, they can score with anybody. If their coach can grow from his mishaps in these past few years, I could see them hovering around. I'm gonna say 11-6. I guess I was overzealous with 13-4 last year. I thought they would come in like with their hair on fire and it would mean more to them, and they were gonna be the team gunning to take out the Chiefs, and it didn't really go that way. But then again, they won 10 games with. I think Keenan Allen played only 10 games last year. Mike Williams played 12 games last year. Like, they never had their full slew of weapons on the field at the same time for any extended period of time. Defensively, they still got some work to do. But in that AFC, man, it's going to be a lot of shootouts. I heard y'all talking about it right as I came on, all these quarterbacks. You're going to have to go out and score 25, 30 points sometimes, and they can do that.
Ray, can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I haven't really heard you talk much about the success of Justin Herbert, more or less the LA Chargers. Have you been talking to Real Lil? Have you and him had a conversation?
No, listen, man. Listen, actually, the funny thing is, if you go back, shout out to my man Ryan Jones, Primetime, right? He brought me on a show. Actually, no, it wasn't him. It was Tyree that brought me on a show. Right? But Ryan Jones brought Real Lil into our lives. Let's start there, right? And then Tyree brought me on a show to argue with Real Lil. And this was 2 seasons ago. And he was talking about Justin Herbert. This might have been last year. Justin Herbert should have been the favorite for MVP. And I'm like, that's crazy, right? Listen, man. Justin Herbert been in the league 3 years. 66%. Like, he averaging about 290 yards a game. He's doing his part as a rookie. 4,300 yards, 31-10. Sophomore year, 5,000, 38-15. Last year, 4,700 yards. 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's doing it at 68%. He's doing his part, right? Like, he is the only thing that's keeping us from putting him in the same echelon with Allen and Burrow is the team success.
Okay.
From a talent perspective, he ain't. If you flip the coin, we had a draft in the AFC, I'd be fine with picking 5th. If I can't get Mahomes first, I could take any of the next 4 or 5 guys and feel like I got me a franchise guy. Burrow's good, Allen's good. Listen, man, I know you want me to say it, John, and listen, I can admit the guy I said last year was a prove-it year. Tua has now firmly put himself in that echelon with those guys. He showed when he got some weapons on the field, he is just as good as Josh Allen. He's just as good as Burrow. He's just as good as – and I think all them guys I'm naming, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, they all better than Lamar Jackson.
Okay, well, I won't go that far, but let me go to Mike and John on this one. So, Mike, talk to me about the Chargers because
11-6 was my answer.
11-6, thank you, sir. Yeah. Mike, you're the Pac-12 guy. You got your own show, Pac-12 Review. You at ASU every single day talking to coaches, talking to players. So, Justin Herbert, Pac-12. This is Mike Carrott's Noodle Land. So, like the song, hit it, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, look. If I said this a million times on the show, if he would have came out the year before and not come back to win a national championship, which homer moment, ASU spoiled, even though they still should have went to the playoffs. If he came out the year before, he'd been the number 1 pick, hands down. And the Chargers got him at 5, the whole debate. We talked about that. But I think actually Kellen Moore will be good for him. And to your point, Ray, about Brandon Staley, because Brandon Staley, I want to go for it on 4th and 5 on our own 35 in every freaking game. Now, you just said all of Justin Herbert's accolades. You have that talent. You have Austin Eckler. If you have those wide receivers, I mean, I know I saw in the chat, but I was going to say that too. They drafted the kid out of TCU, Quentin Johnson. You got to be 6'5" to play wide receiver on this team, Ray. So they got another 6'5" wide receiver that can go across the middle, that can take the top off the ball. And yeah, Eckler's not happy about his contract, but I mean, you get him in there, and I think Kellen Moore will actually be good for Brandon Staley. I know this sounds crazy me saying, because you're not going to go for it on 4th and 5 every time from your 35, and we saw he's done it. I like what they did in the draft. Plus, I mean, John, you're talking about last year. I mean, injuries. They lost their freaking top draft pick from the year before. The left tackle was Everett or no,
Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, Slater from Northwestern. They lost him for the whole year, and now they're shuffling around their offensive line. So look, Justin Herbert under Kellen Moore, we know everybody says, oh, these filled stats, cream puff stats, whatever. He's got the weapons to where, yeah, if late in games you need him to make a play, he'll make the play. Defensively, look, the Chargers, I mean, Brandon Staley's a defensive guy. So quit worrying about go for on 4th down and strengthen your defense, Eric. That's because there are points that they broke down. I mean, that first game against the Chiefs when Justin Herbert got hurt, I mean, if you guys remember, they're going back. They were standing in the middle of the ring, punching back and forth with them. So, I mean, with their schedule, what I see, I mean, I got them going, which is crazy because I was hoping we'd do the Chargers last, but no, I have them going 11-6 too, just like the Chiefs, but the Chiefs get the tiebreaker and win the division.
All right, John, Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't think they have a bad defense. I mean, they struggle with a lot of injuries last year. They got J.C. Jackson, and I mean, they really didn't get to have J.C. Jackson.
Right. I didn't say they were bad. I said Brandon Staley.
No. I'm just saying, like, when
don't worry
Bosa's
about going for it on 4th and 5 in your own territory. Tighten your defense up.
Right. When they have Bosa, and he needs to stay healthy. When they have J.C. Jackson, needs to stay healthy. They have so many talented pieces. Derwin James needs to stay healthy. If that defense is healthy, if Rashawn Slater's healthy, if Eckler's out there, which I imagine he would be, if he's healthy, if they're healthy, they're better than the Chiefs. Like, they're stronger. But their problem is, again, they got that doofus of a head coach, and they can never stay healthy. They're one of those teams that just always get bit by the injury bug. I think they win 12 games.
Who's throwing the flag?
They're more talented than Kansas City.
Oh, okay. All right. So, fine. Here we go. This is what we're going to do.
They're more talented than Kansas City across the board.
Mike,
they just got
Megan,
doofus of a head coach, and
let's take a quick.
They got injury bug.
Relax. Just pump the brakes.
You
throw
the flag on me, man.
I didn't throw the flag on you, but I'm gonna let who did throw the flag on you have that conversation with you while the three of us just sit back and enjoy. So, Ray, since you threw the flag, I'm gonna let you and John handle this one.
I don't know why we got to go through this every year. I don't know why we got to go through this every year. Like, you keep doubting Kansas City and they keep proving you wrong. At some point, just stop. Like, you saw how I just said, hey, John, we was all tripping on Tua. He has weapons. He proved himself. He had the best passer rating in the NFL last year. I can admit, I didn't think Tua was that good. You know what? He showed me.
For that.
Yeah. But, like, last year, you talked all this stuff about Kansas City, and all they did was go out and win the Super Bowl, John. They didn't make a decent playoff run. They didn't make it to the AFC Championship. They didn't just make it. They won the Super Bowl, last man standing. And here you are next year in a preseason show talking bad about Kansas City. Oh, such and such.
I didn't talk
based
bad.
On what?
I didn't talk bad.
The Chargers are better than them based on what?
They're more talented all across the board. They have more talent all across the board. They just got to stay healthy.
And they
got to overcome their doofus head coach, and they're better.
But you know that the doofus head coach is the doofus head coach. You realize that, right?
Now, I understand that.
And the guy on the other side is Andy Reid.
I understand who Andy Reid is. I completely understand.
John, how old are you?
33.
You was in your mid-20s the last time Kansas City lost less than 12 games. How old is your son?
About 2.
He wasn't born yet, John.
Yeah, I know that.
They do this year after year after year, and you come right back on these shows and be like, I don't know. Maybe they're not better, John.
And look, I think they're going to stay healthy.
You have no foundation for that comment, none whatsoever.
I think that they're more talented. They're going to stay healthy, and they're going to overcome their doofus.
All
across the board.
John, do we realize how big of a gap it is between Mahomes and the rest of the league at quarterback?
I understand that, but I said all across the board. You give me that roster. I want the Chiefs roster.
They have a Travis Kelce's a tight end, and he might be one of the top 5 pass catchers in the league.
No, I understand that, but there's 53 players on a roster.
This is the same stuff you said last year. And it's been proven that no matter what other 10 guys you put out there with 15, he going 15. Like Mahomes going Mahomes.
Yeah.
This year's different.
All right. Well, we shall
This
see.
year's different. This we
listen.
we should put up a monologue of every year John saying this not the year for Kansas City.
It's like talking to a Cowboys fan. This year's different.
Hey man,
Wow.
you know what? Hey, I
You keep
promise.
John. You keep doing this. No, that's
I
fine.
promise.
You can get
Listen.
that's fine. You can get rid of him. But see, what John don't realize is John keeps doing this, and he gonna force me. He's forcing my hand come Christmas Eve.
Go
I'm
ahead,
letting
root
you
for
know.
Dallas.
He is forcing my hand come Christmas Eve because he want to talk a bunch of nonsense.
Well, I think the Chargers start 4-0 anyway because they're going to beat the Dolphins week 1. Justin Herbert's going to show Miami what they should have taken. So,
and I know how much you hate that team in Texas.
I do.
Right?
Y'all are crazy.
But these two right here, the one down here and him over there, right?
Yeah.
Them two, Mike and Meg, like for the most part, they try to be realistic about their team, right? Especially Megan. Megan's pretty professional when it comes to the Cowboys. Mike sometimes sometimes he get in his cowboy bag and it's like, bro. But for the most part, when we give him predictions and stuff like that, he can be a sports journalist, right? You're realistic about your Eagles. When John likes a team, there's no talking to him. When John don't like a team, there's no talking to him. Like, you let John tell it. Next year's the year. Miami Heat going to win the NBA championship. The Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl, and the Orioles are going to win it. Like, you let John tell it. All his teams
close. Second best record in baseball. Second best
man.
record in baseball, baby.
All
Better
right.
than the Rangers. Better than the
Hey,
Phillies.
what the crap? I didn't even come for you.
No, she didn't even. Wow. All right, listen.
He mentioned the Orioles. I didn't mention them.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we still got 2 more teams to handle. More with the family in just a moment. Y'all just stay tuned. Scouting Combine, January 8th through the 12th, 2024. Yo, I'm telling you, 3 out of the 5 of us here on screen have attended one, if not more. And for all those athletes out there looking to get their true numbers, their true stats, how they stack rank, and providing them with an opportunity to be seen not just on the NFL level, but the CFL, the XFL, the Indoor Football Alliance, the Arena Football League, USA Rugby, WWE, and so many more. You got to show up. It is a week's worth of just getting the exposure. And the best part about it is you have an opportunity to jumpstart your next chapter, not just from what you do on the field, but the interviews that all of us here conduct with you, which are going to help you progress even further. It just makes you that well-rounded individual. It truly sets you apart from people who go to other events. Yes, I'm biased. I've been doing it for 6 years, but I have seen a lot of young men, including one man who I have to say this, I said it on social media and I'll say it again. Congratulations to Michigan State cornerback, Mr. Josh Butler, who now plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations to him. You know what? I got to call it like I see it. So let's get back to the show. I got my man, my co-host, sports reporter without pay. I got the Queen of Hoop in the building, John Shear, the antagonist, the analyst, the aggravator, just anything that starts with the letter A and rhymes with whole. Anyhow, and then my man Forks Up. Yeah, I'm firing shots, man. This is the second half. We got to get this done here because he's just gonna spit it all night. And I have to say, Dom kind of got me twisted, but I'm gonna come find him on the gauntlet. Don't you worry about that. Let's keep going on to the next team, and let's go to Vegas because Jimmy Garoppolo is now the starter. Again, for all of us last year, when we looked at this team, we did not expect 6 wins. We expected them to be better, and it did not come to fruition. Derek Carr is now gone. He's in New Orleans. Jimmy G's out of San Francisco. So he is truly porn star Jimmy because he is in Las Vegas. I will say this before we go any further, and this is not a dig at anybody, but I want all these quarterbacks and athletes to understand, man, you get one shot at this. And I feel for Henry Ruggs III. I wish that brother nothing but the best. I hope he is able to rehabilitate himself and maybe get another opportunity. But if he doesn't, bro, you put that on you. And that's all I'm going to say about that. When I look at the Raiders, listen, for as good as Josh McDaniel was in New England, the fact is he don't have Tom Brady. Now, he may have, in his eyes, the next best thing in Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, you playing in the AFC West. You're playing against Patrick Mahomes twice a year. You seeing Justin Herbert twice a year. So I'm just like, bro, what is it about the Las Vegas Raiders that is going to make me sit here and say, you only produced 7 points last year. How can I give you more than 7? I can't. Because I don't see anything on that team that is making me open my eyes and I'm just going to spit it out and say, oh, yeah, Vegas is going to. No. I don't care how beautiful the stadium is. It just does not look like they are going to be a top contending team. But the AFC is so stacked from quarterbacks on down that it's like, for me, hey, you know what? You get 7 wins, roll the dice, don't crap out, keep it moving. 7. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm laughing because you're saying 7. I mean, the first 4 weeks of their schedule,
Jesus Christ.
That's an absolute gauntlet. And I looked at that earlier today. That's why the fact you said, that's why I started laughing, Eric. But, week 1 at Denver, okay, division game. Like we always say, true, throw it out. But Sean Payton's going to have a lot to prove. Home opener there. Week 2, now you get to go back on the road to Buffalo. Good luck. Week 3, except for well, outside of all of us, but Megan saying, then they get to host Pittsburgh, huge rivalry game, and then they're at the Chargers. So, yeah, I mean, look, Jimmy G does win games, and we've all been through his injuries. We've all been through the history. He's on the field, team, players around him, whatever. He wins games. So that's what Josh McDaniel's hoping to tap into, considering he had him for obviously quite a while in New England. But, yeah, those first 4 games are tough. I mean, and plus you lose Darren Waller. I mean, now he's with the Giants. So you lose one of the better tight ends in the game. And you take that away, you bring in Jimmy G, you take it away from a guy like Jimmy G who would really love a tight end, because when he was healthy in San Francisco, and to John's point, always saying with injuries, when Kittle was healthy too, Jimmy G had a pretty good thing going there in before obviously Deebo Samuel exploded. But I mean, yeah, to look at the Raiders, I mean, look, they addressed defense in the draft. I mean, most of their draft picks were on the defensive side of the ball. The kid they took out of Texas Tech, number 1, Eric Tyree Wilson. I mean, I know they're saying that he's got to work on maybe some more interior moves, but being outside, this kid can get to the quarterback. And like we've said with these quarterbacks, you have to get there. So they address their defense. It needs to be better. But yeah, I think we talk about hot seat and Brandon Staley. I think if Josh McDaniels, they start 0-4, it's going to start like the chatter's going to come up. You can't start that crappy again and think that a Davis that owns the team, Eric, is going to keep you as head coach when he gave you the quarterback you wanted. Okay, you let go of Carr. If Mark Davis was cool with letting Carr go, you and I had a discussion. I wasn't. I don't see it. Good for the Saints. Good for them. But you better shore up that defense. And now again, at tight end, what are you going to do? Like, that's the question. So yeah, I'm going to go 8-9 for the Raiders. But like I said, I might come down. I got 2 weeks to decide a little bit to see, but I go 8-9 for Vegas.
All right, Megan, what you think about Vegas this year?
I'm sorry. Did you say me? I was in the middle.
Yes, ma'am. I know. I got you.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I have a cold, y'all. All right, so with Vegas, I definitely agree. I think McDaniels is a problem there. I don't know why they switched from their interim coach and gave him the job, to be perfectly honest. There's something that, there's always an outside factor that can't be drafted, and that's heart. That's something that I feel like Derek Carr has. He gave that franchise his entire heart, everything he had. There were plenty of times when you looked. It doesn't mean he was the most talented person out on the field, but he gave everything he had, in my opinion, all the time to that team. And so, I felt like that was a good pickup for New Orleans. You know what I mean? And that's Vegas missing out. There are questionable, tangible question marks when it comes to Jimmy G, and that's health. You know what I mean? I don't think that we all just sit there and really talk bad about his talent. It exists. I mean, he's not the best quarterback out there. He's not a top 5 quarterback, but he might be looming the 12, close to the top 10, if healthy, and then that is a huge, real problem there. They lost more than what they gained. I do think that they addressed some issues with their defense. And as a Dallas fan, I know defense can win you games because we struggled last year offensively and our defense came through. So that is going to be something that might win them a few games. But this is a team that I got going 5-12. I see them having 2 divisional wins. They get swept by the Chiefs. I think that they go into Chicago and kind of wake them up a little bit, hand them a loss week 7. Week 6, I think they go beat New England just because of that matchup. That matchup with his former team right there. And New England is horrible. And then I have them winning in Indy on week 17. But I think they lose to the Giants and Detroit week 8 and 9. So 5-12.
Hey, Megan, week 11, you have them winning though, right? You have them winning week 11, right?
Mike, stop. Just stop, Mike. You know you're wrong.
Who do they play week 11?
He's been quiet this whole time. But let me address this one. They're playing the Dolphins.
Oh.
So
no,
listen to my
man
James. I love this brother. He is a diehard Chargers fan. The brother is, he's in Orlando right now. He's worked for the Eagles. He's now working for the Magic. But, bruh, 13 games with Kansas City in the mix and Herbert's winning MVP. That's just the Charger fan.
Herbert can win MVP, so that part of the branch, Eric, isn't really that far off. If he's
that's a real Lil Burner account. That's what that is.
No. I actually know this guy. Decent guy, love him to death. But when he see it, yes. And
Cortland said the same thing.
Look, dude.
All right, John, you have been patiently awaiting the Las Vegas Raiders, so I'm gonna let you go on this one, but please don't act a fool.
I never act a fool.
Yeah, okay.
Look, you can't lose Darren Waller. Go from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo, which I think is a step down. You lost more than you added. I mean, I like what you did in the draft. They really didn't add anything, and the defense was bad last year. Tyree Wilson and Max Crosby together will be fun to watch. They added Michael Mayer at tight end. Drafting a tight end in the NFL draft's always a crapshoot, especially anything. It's not a first round pick. It's always a crapshoot. So I can't say that'll pan out because drafting a tight end's never an easy thing. But I just don't like what they did in the offseason. They didn't do a whole lot. They won 6 games last year. Josh Jacobs is reporting, and he will play week 1 at the Broncos. So they do have Josh Jacobs playing. They have Devontae Adams. But other than that, like Jimmy Garoppolo, he's nothing special. The offensive line isn't anything special. You really don't have anything. And you were a bad team last year, and you have a terrible head coach, great offensive coordinator, awful head coach. It's a 5-win team. Like, there's nothing there. They got a goofy win at home against the Patriots last year, that weird win. Like, they had some weird wins last year. They're a bad football team. 5 is being nice. I mean, I could see them winning 3 or 4 games. That's more realistic.
Well, then say that, John. 5. If you want to say 3 or 4, say 3 or 4.
I'm going 5. I'm going to play.
Everyone is hesitant since I did the 2 and 15. Everyone's hesitant to go for it.
I think 5 is fine. They'll get some weird wins, but it's realistic to see them go 3 wins because you really don't have anything special besides Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. There's nothing else there.
Ray, hey, Eric, real quick, I got to shout out my Sun Devil that's on the squad, Nesta Jade Silvera. They took him. I'm just saying, he could have some big plays. He's going nowhere, dog.
Always find a way to throw in Pac-12.
Hey, man, they drafted him. It says right there.
Ray, please talk Raiders.
There's a few things about this team. Y'all ever seen the movie Moneyball?
Oh,
yeah.
With Brad Pitt? My favorite scene in the movie is when he's talking to David Justice and he's batting. And he said, "Oh, you think you special, huh?" He said, "You pay me such and such dollars. I think I'm pretty special." He said, "Oh, no, I don't pay you anything. The Yankees are paying half your salary. They pay you to play against them. That's what they think of you. You're a starting quarterback in the NFL, and your team picks the quarterback at number one. That's what San Francisco thought of you, Jimmy G. Like, that's what, like, Jimmy G's not a good quarterback. I get this idea that he wins games. Did you see what happened when Jimmy G went down last year? They took Mr. Irrelevant and went straight to the NFC Championship game.
They did.
And many think they only lost the game because he got hurt and couldn't throw the ball, right? San Francisco has a formula that works. They was winning games without Smith. They had a great season when Kaepernick was there. They got Jimmy G, and then last year, Mr. Irrelevant took them to the NFC Championship. Had nothing. Jimmy G's not like the catalyst to any success that San Francisco has had, right? Like y'all just said, he's a step down from Derek Carr. And Derek Carr's not great. Derek Carr's middle of the pack at best. And we talking about in the AFC where you really got to rack up some points to win. Like, I don't understand. Like, the most frustrated person this year is going to be Adams. Devontae, like, mid-season, you're going to be hearing Devontae Adams talk about play calling and not getting the ball and wanting to lead. Just mark my words. Remember, you heard that here. Second thing about the Raiders is they are living proof to a conversation we had a few I don't know. We were talking about these running backs that aren't getting deals, right? And I keep explaining to y'all, it's the reason they not. It has been proven time and time again that it doesn't equate to success. People don't even know that Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing last year. Why? Because it didn't matter. Who led the league year before that? Jonathan Taylor, 1,800 yards, didn't make the playoffs. Derrick Henry been the best running back in football for 3-4 years. Don't equate to Tennessee having success. As great as Barry Sanders is, couldn't make that. Like, it doesn't, especially in this day and age. So if your most formidable offense is handing the ball to your running back, you're not going to be a very good team. Unless you're San Francisco. Like, you have to have a defense like San Francisco's and a style that works. And the Raiders don't have that. Like, their best player is Devontae Adams, and they don't have a quarterback who's going to get them the ball. And then you have a guy that led the league in rush who's unhappy with our. This is going to be a mess all year.
Yeah, because if he gets banged up, if he gets a little bit banged up, Ray, he's like, "Oh, you're going to be out for 2 weeks easily." He's like, I'm not giving you anything you're not paying me. Plus, he's only 25 years old. I know it goes to our running back discussion. We already had it. But this dude had 2 walk-offs for you last year. Like you said, led the league in rushing. But I'm with you. He gets the little nicked. He's going to be out for 2-3 weeks easily.
So, Ray, what's your record?
I can't see. Everybody else said 5. I'm going to go 4-13. I looked at the schedule. I can't find wins on there. I tried. I went up and down the schedule trying to find wins for him.
I'm gonna drop mine because I did say 7, but I'm dropping mine to 5.
Man, I don't know if y'all paid attention. Like, I love what Megan is doing, right? Because I think a lot of times we look at a team, we think how good they are, and just kind of throw out a number, right?
Right.
But sometimes you gotta really look at their schedule and go, okay, so where can I find some wins? One of the biggest things I look at is I look at your road games because they're going to be difficult, right? They get Kansas. Well, that's in the division, right? So they're going to get them at home and on the road. But on the road, they get Miami on the road, Chicago, Detroit, Buffalo. They're not going. I left Indy off because I don't need, like, they starting to rook. Then I don't know what he's going to be by week 16. But those are probably all losses, right? Then you get the improved Jets. You get the Vikings.
What time's that game?
Here we go.
Hold on. y'all already told y'all in the NFC North, the best quarterback in the division is
so 105, Eric, Pacific
the 5th
time.
best quarterback is anytime after 1 o'clock.
105 right? Pacific time.
No, man,
nope.
I just
they're gonna lose. But go ahead. Sorry,
I can't find wins for that team. And the funny thing is, we haven't got to Denver yet, but I think those are, like, in the whole NFL, not just y'all was talking about Dakota, not just in this division. I think in the NFL, these are probably the 2 quarterbacks under the most pressure. And I'll talk about Russ when we get to Denver. But Jimmy G has been riding the wave of being on teams that were successful with or without him, right? Like, if you look at, everybody talks about when he went 2-0 as a starter in New England. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett won a game too. Matt Castle went 10-6 in New England. Like, it's never been about, I mean, so now you get to San Francisco and they go, he's winning games. Yeah, they won with everybody. So now this is his opportunity to prove that he is what some people thinks he is, but he's not. Jimmy G's just not a good quarterback. Okay. Mediocre at best. Right. He won't lose you a game, but he ain't finna win you no games. And they gonna need people in the AFC. You need quarterbacks that can go win you games.
And in that division, you really need people to win games. You got to put up at least 24 to 28 points.
Can I add a comment on something Mike said earlier, and then
Real
kind of
quick, we got to keep it
piggybacking on
moving.
Ray? So, Mike, you said that he might be on the hot seat, McDaniels. No, actually, he's not. They don't have the money to fire him. They're still paying John Gruden, and they're strapped cash so much that they can't afford to fire.
No, they couldn't afford
Josh
to fire him
McDaniels.
last year.
They don't have the money to fire him. They have to wait till his contract runs out.
If you believe that and you want an Eskimo, I could sell you ice. It's an NFL team. If they fire him, it's obviously less than last year. He has a 4-year deal.
Stadium,
so they're paying the last
John
two.
Gruden $100 million, and you fired him.
No. Yeah, John Gruden got fired. There's a settlement there, kid.
No, I was about to say they didn't have to pay him his full contract.
Yeah,
right.
But that's the way it happened.
He got fired for cause, so there's a settlement.
Think about all the money that's coming from their pockets, from the owner's pockets.
Mark Davis is not short on cash.
Yeah, he's not short on cash.
It's not a part of the cap. They have an
fire
ungodly amount of money. They just won a championship with a WNBA team. They got money.
And they got, and you know what? They also got investors giving them money. So
for sure,
Megan, I love that you took that opportunity to drop a WNBA nugget. Like I just
all right.
You know what I'm saying?
We're going to take one last break because I got to give love to my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, because I know he's got season 2 planning in the works for this show right here. Like I said, season 2, Ball Don't Lie, featuring the sports reporter without pay, the one, the only, probably the best debater out there, the man, Mr. Ray Lynn, in the building with us alongside Mike here.
Almost back, Eric. Almost back.
What do you mean almost back? What are you talking about?
It's almost basketball season. We're almost back.
Oh God. Okay, John. See,
October 18th.
I'm giving Ray his flowers. I don't need you. Sorry, I don't need you, sir, down here to be messing up what I'm trying to say about my man, the sports reporter without pay, and his show. You know what? Why don't you create a Miami Heat show and add that to your repertoire, and then we can talk about Miami.
I just like to tell you.
I already know. I ain't worried about you. When have I ever been worried about John Sheeran?
When am I ever worried about the Philadelphia 76ers?
You might. Well, this year I can't speak for it yet. Trust me, there's a rant coming. Brewing. There's a rant brewing. But anyhow, let's get to the last team, and it is the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton, Russell Wilson. What is this team going to look like? For the last time here tonight, this is what we did last year. Like I said, we gave them a lot of love, and Russ Wilson did not cook at all. He was ordering takeout from Uber Eats, DoorDash, and anybody that would send it his way. Ray, do you want to go first or you want to go last?
Second or third. I just don't want to go first because I'm looking up something real quick.
Okay. All right. Queen of Hoop.
Okay, so actually I was the one that was closest to what they did last year. I think I got closest to it, and still gave them too much credit. They, and at the time that they paid Russell Wilson hadn't been healthy in a season and a half at that time. What was it, his wrist or his hand that he hurt? And then and he was out for half of a season. And then the very next season, he was injured that season too, and didn't play well. So the amount of money that they were able to give him was kind of surprising to me, or that they wanted to give him, did give him. Like, that was kind of shocking to me. They have a bye week on week 9. I have them winning week 1 and 2. And then I see them losing at Miami week 3. Week 4, I see them losing that also in Chicago. I have them losing to the Jets as well. And obviously losing to Kansas City. Then I have them winning in Green Bay. And then as far as the division, I see them splitting the division except Kansas City.
Well, they're not in Green Bay, Megan. They're home for the Packers game.
I didn't say at Green Bay. I said they get a win with Green Bay.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
And with Kansas City, they have them they're going to get swept by them. So that's 4 divisional losses. One game that I have circled on that schedule is at Houston. If they can win that game right there, I have them at 7-10. But that is going to me, that's going to be a tough game for them. I saw some pieces in Houston last year whenever Dallas played them that I was actually, I was pretty impressed by, especially on their defense. So I don't think the Texans are going to be as bad as everybody expects them to be. But on the other side, I just don't know if Denver has it in them to be better than the Texans, not in Houston. So I'm going to say 7-10, but that's contingent on that Texans game. If not, they go 6-11.
All right, fair enough. I'll go, and then I'll turn it over to the sports reporter without pay, and then let thing 1 and thing 2 close out the show here tonight, because I know they got a lot to talk about. Mike, you and John just gonna be chirping back and forth when it comes to Denver, so I'm gonna let us get it out the way, okay? So, like Megan, let me look at this schedule really quick. I mean, here's the thing: I have high expectations for Russell Wilson. Not only do we share the same last name, but now you have Sean Payton, a true, proven head coach. A man who doesn't take no BS from nobody. For Russ to have his own area to get ready in, not to be a member of the 53-man roster because he feels he is on a whole nother level. It's one of those things where if you ain't going to be about the team, then don't be on the team. But you're getting paid $250 million. So the expectation is compete in arguably the toughest division. Well, not anymore because the Raiders are in there. But I cannot see Sean Payton knuckling under or catering to the whim of Russell Wilson and his antics. I expect this team to be better, but the fact that you got 6 wins, I still say, and there are a lot of people who say they haven't seen it, I still say Jerry Jeudy can be a top receiver in this league. I also feel like, and I have to check my stats to see if he is still there, but if Cortland Sutton is still on that team, I look at both of those guys. And I say between Jeudy and thank you. I say Jeudy and Sutton can be a 1-2 for Russ. This is a game where, John, say what you want, but let me explain something to you really fast. You weren't at that NFL draft combine. I was. I saw Jerry Jeudy. I saw Cortland Sutton. I saw the hands. I saw the footwork. I saw the 40. I saw it all with those 2 guys. There are always 1 or 2 wide receivers in every single draft class that I simply say the same thing. If they get on the right team, they are going to elevate themselves. If Sean Payton can get Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and Russell Wilson on the same page, I'm telling you right now, those 2 receivers are going to be names that we are going to be talking about throughout this year because of what they've been able to do. But that still remains to be seen. Now, yes, 5, 6 wins? That's what Denver got last year. Okay, Sean Payton coming in 5 wins. I got to, in good conscience, say you'll at least get 8. You ain't going to go over 500 just because, again, looking at that schedule and some of the teams that you do play. But I feel like Sean Payton is going to get this team corrected. So I have them at 8 and 9, and I'll go to Ray.
So if I did a quick player comparison, these are 2 quarterbacks. Player A completes 62% of his passes, 209 yards a game, and won about 51% of his games. 62% of his passes, 209 yards per game, 84.9 passer rating, and won 50% of his games. Quarterback B completed 69% of his passes, threw for 298 yards per game, and won 62% of his games with 101.5 quarterback rating. You know the difference in those 2 players? Sean Payton. That's Drew Brees before and after Sean Payton. That's what that is. That's what Sean Payton does to a quarterback. He's an offensive genius. Like there are some titles we throw around about players and coaches. Oh, this guy's the quarterback whisperer. This is no. Sean Payton is really that. Like he's really him. And I don't think he came out like when coaches sit back, just like Urban Meyer, when he left Florida State, he retired because he was sick. And next thing you know, he was in Ohio State winning a bunch of games. When dudes sit in retirement and decide to come back out, they coming back out for a reason. They find a perfect landing spot and go, oh, yeah, I can be successful there. He see what's going on in Denver. He looking at Russell Wilson going, oh, what he need is me. and you just mentioned Jared Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, right? Like that offense is going to be something. You can believe that. One thing they're going to do is score a lot of points. Go look at New Orleans offense over the years. Top 5 every year in points scored, top 5 every year in yards. And we know Russell Wilson can actually play. So I think the addition of Sean Payton alone changes everything. They get their players healthy, they get on the field, and I'm looking at their schedule. It ain't a tough schedule. Them out of division games, they get them soft games because they were so bad. They get the Commanders. They get the Texans. They get the Patriots, right? Those are 3 games they should win. And then they can be competitive within the division. Maybe they still won against Kansas City. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this team going to win 10 games. How about that?
Okay.
And I'm banking that all on Sean Payton.
Okay.
Y'all seen what he did, man. He went and coached them kids to a championship in that movie. That's how good he is.
But Russell Wilson ain't played well in 2.5 seasons. Well, he hasn't played well in 2.5 seasons.
He ain't played for Sean
Payton. He was good before that, but he has not played well in
Carroll.
2.5 seasons.
All right, John.
I don't even disagree with you, Megan. Like, there's no argument for it. The facts are the facts. He hasn't. I just think a guy the caliber of Sean Payton. Do you remember a few years ago when Drew Brees got hurt and Teddy Bridgewater came in? Yeah. And they said Drew Brees was expected to miss 6 games. And I remember I went on the 3-point conversion Raphael show, and I said, man, if they could just go 3-3 in these games, they went like 5-0, and then Brees came back. Like, man, if you can win games with Teddy Bridgewater, like, just saying, like, I think.
I mean, we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton calling the plays is going to work wonders for Russell Wilson. I really do.
John Shear.
I mean, a lot of people bought into this team last year. They haven't fixed the offensive line. The offensive line's still really bad. Javonte Williams coming off that injury. We don't know what he's going to be. Look, Eric, you talked about Jerry Jeudy. I've seen Jerry Jeudy. I watched enough TV to watch this guy drop. He has hands of stone, man. Cortland Sutton's always injured. He's a talented guy who's always injured. Every time you think this is the breakout year, this is finally the breakout year for Cortland Sutton.
It's because of his name, John.
Shoulder injury.
It's because of his name. It's because of his name. Cortland.
But look,
that name don't even sound like a superstar. Cortland. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They haven't fixed the line. The run game, we don't know what's going to be because Javonte, who's talented, is coming off that big injury. And those receivers are unreliable. Like we've seen this year after year with those two, where they're supposed to develop. And Jerry Jeudy drops balls and he runs the wrong route. Like, the defense is good, but Sean Payton adds 5 wins to the team, you're saying? A head coach who hasn't coached in 2 years. And his Saints, I mean, they were good in 2020 was the last time they were good. They weren't good once Drew Brees left. So he has to have a Hall of Fame quarterback in order to be good. That's what I saw.
He got one.
Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer, but he's out of his prime. He's not.
I don't know. I think any Hall of Fame coach will tell you that they got to have a Hall of Famer on their team as well. Pop said what got him where he is now is Timmy.
Hey, John. Repeat your question. You said a coach is supposed to add 5 wins.
5 wins. They were 5-1.
What were the Saints' record the year before Sean Payton took over as head coach?
I don't know what their record was.
3-13. What did they do his first year? 10-6.
Yep.
Congratulations. This team doesn't have a stud offensive line. This team doesn't have stud running backs, not stud receivers. There's no talent. There's no talent on this offense aside from their tight end, who is
going to tell me they play Miami this year. Please tell me they play Miami this year.
They do.
Aside from their tight end, who's going to break out this year, look for him in fantasy, Dolchich or however you say his name. He's going to be really good this year. Aside from him, there's nothing on that offense that you're scared of. Russell Wilson's a shell of himself.
John.
Megan
September 24th. September 24th in Miami. The Denver Broncos are coming down there and waxing that ass. So get ready for your L, John.
It's not going to happen.
Matter of fact, September 25th, John, don't go running.
You also said we would win 5 games last year. Yeah.
I said that just to spite you. What I'm saying to you is right now, John, September 25th, Don't go running when you lose
And
that
do I
game.
ever go running?
I don't want to
No.
hear that excuse.
I'm always
Oh
here.
wait, but
Okay.
before we go, speaking of running, congratulations to Shakari. Oh my gosh, girl, world champion. Went out there and showed them world champion.
Shakari Richardson, yes.
Yes,
Much love to that
just
young
so
woman.
and broke the record. With a record time. Like, man, she really did that. Congratulations.
Congratulations to her. Anyway, look, on Russell Wilson's team, nobody likes this guy. Like, they're looking at him side-eyed last year like, who the hell does this guy think he is? He got his own office. He got all this personal stuff from the head coach. Like, when you get guys that when you have guys on your team that don't like the leader of the team, the quarterback, there's something internal in that locker room, man. It's not just their lack of talent, but Russell Wilson doesn't mesh with that team, and you got to have chemistry. I don't think they're going to have chemistry. It's going to be a mess. Just like you said with the Raiders,
How many wins?
It's going to be a mess.
How
6 wins.
6. All that talking, you still giving them 6 wins. Okay.
6 wins.
All right, Mike.
Well, Eric, I'm with you on Jerry Jeudy. I hate where he went to college, but I can see the talent. I can respect the talent.
That's all I'm saying.
But look who Sean Payton in his first draft takes in the second round. Now, on the outside as
an from Oklahoma.
Yep, Marvin Mims, baby. Thank you, Ray. Marvin Mims. He takes him in the second round. Yeah, go to sleep on him because in the slot, he's going to smoke your trash slot defenders like Eric said. September 24th.
You need a quarterback that can.
He's going to smoke them September 24th, like Eric said. That being said, look, I'm with Ray on Sean because he said the Saints went 3-13 the year before Peyton got there. Obviously, that's why the job was open. That being said, I think he can make up for it. Yes, their offensive line does need to take strides, but you have Jeudy, you have a guy in Sutton, you have a guy in Mims that can be on the inside, which is huge for him because development-wise, he's not going to match up as an X right away. He can get there, but he's got to be better. I mean, and all the pre-draft stuff, watching the NFL Network, watching my nerd stuff, Big 12 breakdown and stuff, but just watching like his intermediate route stuff, and they've talked about that. But speed-wise, yeah, go ahead. Put a slower safety or linebacker on this kid inside. And again, attention's going to be to Jeudy outside, rightfully so. But yeah, I mean, offensive line-wise, I mean, to John's credit, I mean, that game last year. What was it? That Thursday night game against the Colts. That was just absolutely morbid. But the funny thing is both defensive lines were just doing some crazy stuff, just beating the crap out of the offensive lines. So, look, I think the team, to further Ray's point too, the offense, yes, but the team overall, you're going to take on your coach's personality. And on Sean Payton, I'm with him on that. I think he does bring more wins. I think, yes, Russell Wilson – when we all heard that, it was a freaking joke, John. I agree with you on that. You have your own office, this and that. He doesn't have that crap this year with Sean Payton. There's no way Payton was going to put up with it. You want me to come in and coach? This is how it is. End of story. And after the season, not even 2 seasons, season he had in Denver last year, when rightfully so, I mean, we were optimistic. I'm like, oh wow, Denver got a quarterback. They got a quarterback. Look at that. But if that offensive line can at least give him a little more time. Now, Sean Payton also was gifted with throughout the years having some good runners. And yes, if you can, and Javonte Williams, I disagree with you. I know he's coming back. They say he might.
I like him.
Play. I know you do. You said you did last year, but he should play week 1. I mean, they said he's on track to. I don't know if he's going to play week 1, but I think week 2 on. I mean, to me, that kid was, even in college, but healthy in Denver, kid was just blowing up. So look, he'll run the ball with Williams. To Eric's point, he's going to get Jeudy the ball, and the offensive line. Look, I think they'll hold up better because, I mean, just rule of numbers, John. I can't get any worse. The Colts and the Broncos.
That's why I added a win.
Right, but the Colts and the Broncos literally had the 2 worst offensive lines last year. I mean, how the season ended, injuries, I get it, but I'm just saying their offensive lines were the worst in the league by the end of the season. So I'm going with 8 and 9 in his first year because I do see the schedule. I like how they have. They play the Chiefs, I want to say, like week 7 or 8, Eric. Then they have a bye, and then they get to go to Buffalo out of their bye. So that'll be a fun part of their schedule.
All right.
Hey, Eric.
Yes, sir.
I didn't touch on it. I talked about the most pressure, right? I think Megan was saying he's past his prime. Well, the excuse is going to be the team was bad, the system was bad, this and the third. But he's out of excuses at this point. Like, because Russell Wilson kind of lived off of Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom, right? Like when he was really, really successful, right? It was that defense and the run game. They were probably the last team to really have success the way that they did, right? In this era, with all these pass happy, the whole league is pass happy. And again, you're in the AFC with Mahomes, with Lamar, with Burrow, with Allen, with like we named them all, right? You're going to have to put up some points. And you have the coach who has proven he can do it. And age can't be an excuse. I just happened to look it up just to see. Brady, Rodgers, and Manning all won MVPs after 37. Russell Wilson's 34. Them dudes won MVPs after the age of 37. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl at 43. Right?
I guess that's me calling him a fraud then. Because
I'm with you, though.
Maybe he capitalized on how good that defense and Marshawn was.
Oh no, ain't no maybe. He absolutely did, right?
Okay, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it right now. He's gonna have to show me.
Wilson's.
Right. So, and the thing is, once I heard that, once it was no longer the Legion of Boom and Marshawn, and it was the Russell Wilson show, he became better, right? He played better. It was kind of they lived and died by him, but the team wasn't as successful. But he's never put up eye-popping numbers ever. He's never been a 4,500-yard guy. But you now have the coach, and everybody's seen you in stretches. You've had the talent. Russell Wilson got to go out and prove it. Just like I said about Tua last year, because of what Burrow and Chase, those guys were doing at such a young age, Burrow and Herbert, it kind of put Tua in a position where he had to do it now. Same thing with Jalen Hurts.
Exactly.
What these other guys have done at these old ages, Russell Wilson got to put up or showed up. The last old quarterback that Sean Payton had played very well. So Russell Wilson got to show it, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody. I mean, the comment section has been blowing up from the beginning of the show all the way till the very end. We love and appreciate all of y'all. Cortland, Dom, Will, Jeremy. I mean, I'm just running through names. Kerry Johnson's in the building. Charles Willis Sr., he in the building. Thank you to everybody. But I will preface by saying this: next week, Lord have mercy, we're going here. We're going to the AFC East, which is the new look New York Jets, the defending AFC East champion Buffalo Bills, the second-year Mac Jones and Bill Belichick New England Patriots, and ladies and gentlemen, John Shear and his Miami Dolphins.
Best all of you in that comment section. Show up.
Hey, here's a serious question. Because since we're doing them next week and we just did the AFC West. Because Derek Carr's gone and he's replaced with Jimmy G.
Right.
You can make a case for you go with Jimmy G and Matt. But if you take the top three guys, who got the better quarterbacks? AFC East or the AFC West?
I'm going to say AFC East. I'm going to say that Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Tua Tagovailoa are better than Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Justin Herbert.
You put Jimmy G over Russell? Wow.
Russell Wilson.
I am putting yes.
Well done.
I am putting Jimmy G over Russell Wilson because Jimmy G and Josh McDaniels have history.
Hey, if Jimmy G's the third guy, then it's not a conversation. Like it's not a he's not on the level of any of those three guys in the
Ray,
AFC.
you just said top three though, like 1 through 3.
I was saying that based on the fact that Mac hasn't even he doesn't rate to be in this conversation, and based on what I feel about Jimmy G, right? I was going with Russell Wilson.
Oh, I thought you meant I was Russell too, but I was just gonna say it's a slight edge to the West with the three you were thinking.
Man, then you got the North with Deshaun Watson, Lamar, and Burrow. Jesus Christ. Ooh.
I don't know about Deshaun either.
It's gonna be a fun
and then you
year.
got the South with Trevor Lawrence.
And that listen, I want to see what this young kid Antonio Richardson is going to do, because but here's the thing: now that Jonathan Taylor has been given the permission to go seek a trade, it's like, what does that mean for Indianapolis? You know what I mean?
Agree, Cortland. I agree with that.
Whoa. We are not about to You know what's funny? I know we spoke. Eric, can we want to go to overtime?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just let everybody know really quick. Yes, we are definitely into the OT tonight. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about the AFC West, but now we've shifted kind of. We're talking about quarterbacks. What happened in just 1 year that the entire world now just disrespects Josh Allen? Like at the beginning of last year, based on the end of the previous season, the conversation was he's possibly closing the gap because all of us believed that whoever won that coin flip was going to win that game because he went out and played a perfect game and possibly the greatest playoff game I've ever seen. He battled Mahomes down to the wire, and we was like, this kid is it. And then Burrow came along and went to the Super Bowl, and everybody forgot how good Josh Allen was. Like now, when you see these top 5 lists, they be having Josh Allen and like he's still like for somebody to sit here and say Mahomes, Herbert are better than all 3. We talking about Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen and Tua Tagovailoa, the guy who had the highest passer rating in the NFL last year.
And Ray, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that too, because I was debating with a Chiefs fan and we were just talking, actually more so having a conversation. And I said, I pretty much posed the same question. I said, how is it you don't give Josh Allen any respect? I get you guys beat him. You went to the Super Bowl, but it was a coin toss that changed that's what decided that game. Fine. But I say, when I look at a quarterback and and when coaches are talking and quarterback coaches and coordinators talking, I looked at him and I said, okay, tell me one throw that Patrick Mahomes makes. I said that Josh Allen isn't making. He got different arm angles. And arm strength. Arm strength. Look, I'm not saying Mahomes doesn't have a big arm, but Ray, you and I talk about this. Allen can go toe to toe with Mahomes in arm strength.
But there's one thing that Ray, hold on. There's one thing that Mahomes has that Allen doesn't have. Allen is his own worst enemy, and I've said this. This is why the Dolphins almost won their playoff game with a third-string rookie quarterback in Buffalo. That's why they almost won, because you can force Josh Allen to be his own worst enemy. You can use him against himself, and he thinks he can make every throw and every play possible. I get he's super talented,
all those
but there are times.
Newsflash, every single one of those quarterbacks at that level, dude.
Hold on, Mike. There are times where Allen. There are times where quarterbacks there's a play you just can't make. You got to learn to live another day. Allen doesn't have that in his mind. Every play's got to be made by him. Every play's got to be downfield. Mahomes has learned.
I was about to say he just learned
raise credit. Mahomes has learned. Oh, I lost Tyreek Hill. What do I got to do? Okay, I'm gonna change my game.
No, but even
check it down.
Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna change.
When Tyreek Hill.
No, I'm just saying Allen hasn't he hasn't matured in that way. And when Allen does mature in that way, Allen's going to be really, really good. And he can win a Super Bowl if he's not beating himself. But Allen is the only person stopping Allen is Allen. Nobody else is.
Disagree.
That's my opinion.
I disagree.
I don't understand.
No.
Okay, so one of the comments said how Mahomes rewinding the gap. I'm not even tripping. Like I believe in my heart of hearts that the tier of quarterbacks is Patrick Mahomes, and then it's wherever you want to put everybody else at. Like I don't think anybody is close to him, right? But if you start ranking those next guys, what happened is in the last 2 years, besides Mahomes, the quarterbacks you've seen in the Super Bowl, Stafford is older, but then the younger guys, Burrow and Jalen Hurts both lost the Super Bowl, right? So now when you see these top 5 lists, people are automatically throwing those guys ahead of Allen. Like, do we realize he finished 3rd in MVP voting this year? Like people are acting like Josh Allen just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. I don't even believe in stats. Like he was number 1 in the NFL in added value. For whatever you take that for what it's worth, right? I'm just saying he's very, very good. Like it's Mahomes. And I don't think there's a big gap between any of these guys. If you want to say Josh Allen is second, it ain't crazy. If you want to say Burrow is second, it ain't crazy. The only guy I got a problem with people saying second is Hurts. Not because he's not talented, because he got to do it again. These guys been doing it for 2-3 years now, right? Hurts had a great year last year. He got to come do it again before I make him second or third. Same thing with Tua. Tua can't be 2 or 3 after 1 year. Herbert been doing this since a rookie. Allen's been doing it for 3 or 4 years. But like now, like it's like the new shiny Tua. Everybody's kind of over Allen. Oh, that was 3 years ago. That dude's still one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Well, the
Like
NFL stands for not for long. So, I mean, it is truly a what have you done for me lately? Unfortunately, with, respect to both the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals, that game in January really kind of put a small, like, we stopped focusing on the success and the maturation of these two quarterbacks and drew all of our attention and focus on DeMar Hamlin, get well. We want you back on the field. You know what I'm saying? I take nothing away from Burrow. I take nothing away from Allen. Again, I'll go back to I've been to those combines. I was at Josh Allen's combine. I saw the brother in Lucas Oil where it was quiet. Okay. You could hear a pin drop. I saw with my own eyes, not on TV, John Shear. I saw Josh Allen throw that ball 65 yards to where everybody in that arena had a moment. Like, this boy is special. I saw coaches and GMs and everybody on their phone doing their thing. So I know what Josh Allen is capable of. But I feel like the attention was drawn away from him and Burrow. Now, we're going to see it this year. But again, every year, Josh Allen is getting to the same level. Okay. He's getting to the second round of the postseason. He's getting potentially to the AFC Championship game. But that's his ceiling. We say the basement for Kansas City is the AFC Championship game. Well, the ceiling for the Buffalo Bills under Josh Allen is either the second round of the playoffs or the AFC Championship game.
That's tough.
But with Burrow,
tough.
Burrow did it. Listen to me.
No, hold on.
Burrow, Mike, hold on. Burrow did it once. Okay.
No,
so what twice. You say about Jalen?
Burrow did it twice. He's been to the last two AFC championship game twice. The last two AFC championship games in Kansas City and
okay. And all right, fine. So then Burrow again, his ceiling, AFC Championship. Well, you've been to one Super Bowl, AFC Championship game. Burrow, to me, if you ask me, yes, it is Patrick Mahomes, and then it is Joe Burrow, and then it is Josh Allen. And from there, yeah, of course, I'm going to put Jalen fourth because he's my quarterback. But I am very much along the same premise of Ray is I am more than grateful that you not only won the division, but you took us to Arizona and I got to see my team compete on the biggest stage and potentially possibly win. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't run it back, first off, you and we're going to get to them in 2 weeks. You damn sure better win the division and be the first team in God knows how long to repeat as NFC East Division champs. That's number one. Number two, you damn sure better get back to the NFC Championship game because outside of San Francisco, I don't give a damn. There ain't no team in the NFC that I am putting above San Francisco or Philadelphia. The fact that we see each other in the regular season is something that I'm going to be very curious about. And damn it, it better be a repeat. And you know what, Brock Purdy? I want you 100% because I don't want no more excuses about, oh, we took you out. Well, you shouldn't have stepped on the field. You got what you got. That's the Philly in me. But Josh Allen, getting back to your original point, I'm not disrespecting Josh Allen because I know what he's capable of.
Okay, so a couple of things to the peanut gallery in the comments, right? Like we go, oh, Josh Allen had the most interceptions. He had 14, right? Joe Burrow had 12. They both had 35 touchdowns, right? Who had the second highest QBR amongst all quarterbacks? It was Josh Allen, right? Like, who had 13 wins? It was Josh Allen. Like people are really acting like Josh Allen regressed to being some bum or something, right? like I will say this much: for what we all feel about Mahomes, save John, right? What the rest of the world knows about Patrick Mahomes. When he lost to Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, I didn't watch that game and think to myself, Tom Brady got the best of him. I watched that game and thought to myself, that defense had this boy running for his life, right? That's what you remember from that game. There's only been one time where I watched the game and went, he might outplay Mahomes right now. It was Josh Allen. Like, that can't be ignored. Like Mahomes is the best. And there's only been one quarterback that stood across from me on the field. I went, Mahomes might be in trouble tonight. If that guy get the ball last, it's over. And he didn't. So we go, okay, he played a great game, as good as you can possibly play, and he lost the coin flip. We go, oh, his ceiling is the second round. Well, I mean, he lost the coin flip. He didn't go out there and give up that. He didn't go out and give up them yards in 13 seconds. Like, he didn't do that. So and he played awful last year and lost. Well, he played great and lost too, which that goes to my point about quarterback play and it's not all on them type thing. I'm just saying, I think for people to firmly, I guess Burrow's the new shiny toy because he went to 2 AFC championships. Burrow isn't in a class ahead of Josh Allen for me. Like, for me. And if you talk to me long enough, Tua and Herbert knocking on their door. Only thing Tua and Herbert don't have is the postseason success yet. They haven't even had that opportunity to show in the postseason we can get this done too.
And if they had a better offensive line, I think they'd be in that conversation.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the thing, too, Ray, you said, about Allen too. And after the first 3 weeks last year, because when they went into LA, that opening game, the Rams were hosting them. And we know they lit the Rams up. Like, oh, man, look at Josh, man. It's a tour. The first 3 weeks. And then everything goes down, obviously, with DeMar Hamlin at the end of the season and Cincy. And, I mean, did it tweak their playoff run? Either way, they had to win the game. Cincinnati went up to Buffalo and won. But the first half of the season, and even into the second half of the season, nobody's saying, oh, Josh Allen. Now it's like, oh, well, they couldn't win in the second round. Now, Eric, I'm not saying you. I'm going off the comments, too, and just stuff I saw on Twitter and stuff after the game and just hearing people talk. I'm like, dude, okay. But yeah, I mean, look, hats off to Joe Burrow. I'm not going to say he's not there, but I'm with Ray. I'm not putting him ahead of Josh Allen.
All right, John, I'm going to give you the final word on this, and then we're going to get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're completely right about these three being the top three. I don't think you can put Hurts or Tua or somebody like that, or even Herbert in there yet, because they haven't consistently done it. We need to see more out of those guys. We need to see more success out of those guys, not only individual but playoff success. We need to see more of a resume from those guys to get into close to the conversation. But I think Burrow, I mean, it's interchangeable between Burrow and Allen. Like, whether they're 2 or 3, it really doesn't matter because they're the same guy. Like, they both are like dogs in the playoffs. We say, I mean, Allen should have been in a Super Bowl, if not for the most miracle of miracles probably in the history of the NFL, 13 seconds. Like, Allen's in a Super Bowl, if not for
the
that.
Interesting thing about that, Johnny, is if Allen gets in, he ain't in the Super Bowl, he plays Burrow to go to the Super Bowl. No, that wasn't Burrow that year. No, who did Kansas City beat?
That was AFC Championship.
That was AFC.
No. It was the divisional round. It was the divisional round. That's the year Kansas City wound up losing to Cincinnati that year. That's the year Cincinnati lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. So we would have got to see Allen Burrow, even though we saw it last year and Cincinnati just walked through that.
Sure. Yeah, but I think they're interchangeable. I mean, whether they're 2 or 3, they're on the same exact level, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. We went into overtime. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us in the comments, man. Cortland wants to be on the show next week because we're discussing AFC East. We're going to leave that up to the crew. And Cortland, have your people call our people. We'll get back to you.
Eric.
But hold on. Before you go, one thing I want to say really quick. I got to do something really quick before we get out of here. I haven't done this ever on the show, but I'm going to do it real quick. And I need the full screen. So once upon a time, ladies and gentlemen, there was a show that had brought a lot of attention and a lot of great talent together. And it has gone by the wayside. I won't say it is gone forever, but I am starting right now. Everybody listening to the show and who will get this, I need y'all to contact the 3-Point Conversions, Raphael Hines, and tell him 3 simple words: bring back Battlegrounds. We need to make this happen because there's a lot of talent out there that ain't getting their time to shine and they flowers. And I say this for 2 reasons. Number one, because I am fully entertained. But number 2, and more importantly, you see this man right here that I'm putting on screen? I need y'all to understand something. You want to start about setting the bar. You want to talk about stack ranking. You want to talk about seeing where you're at with regards to what we do each and every week here. Go up against this man right here. Because I tell you what, I have listened to him. I have debated him. I have gone one-on-one with the sports reporter without pay. If you come with any foolishness, he will walk you dry. and I'm being PC right now, but y'all know what I want to say. But everybody listening to me, reach out to Raphael Hines on the 3-point conversion and tell him 3 simple words: bring back Battlegrounds.
Eric, I don't know if you know I said that to him recently.
I know you have.
And you know what? I would love to see Mike on Battlegrounds. I really would.
I want to see John.
No, that's a compliment, Mike.
Oh, I was waiting
It's a
for
compliment.
Usually it comes with a punchline.
No, I would love to see you on Battlegrounds. Like, John will be interesting too, because John, when we normally debate, John brings up numbers. John debates like me, and then he go and do something goofy right after. It's like he'll bring up some great numbers and then say something crazy, like, you just watch Tua's gonna throw for 7,000 yards, and you're like, all right, man, I'm done talking to you. Like, but I would love to see it. Hey, is Cortland still in the comments? I don't know. But yeah, Cortland's comment was Joe Burrow is #1 all-time in completion percentage. Can somebody tell Cortland, when you look at the all-time leaders in completion percentage, Jimmy Garoppolo's #3, Kirk Cousins is 6th, Kyler Murray is 7th, Teddy Bridgewater is 9th, Chad Pennington is 11th. This list means nothing. For the longest, Chad Pennington was near the top.
#1,
if you look at all those guys I just named, they're all since he retired. Right, because it's a more pass-happy league. Rules have changed things.
It's a dink and dunk.
Matt Ryan's #12, Tony Romo's 16th, Phillip Rivers 17th, Derek Carr's 19th, for crying out loud. Like, Ryan Tannehill is 23rd all time in completion percentage. Don't tell me that's a stat that like makes you him. Like, it's not. It's really not. Like, it just means that you take care of the ball and you get it to who it needs to, and it don't hurt having the weapons he got neither. But like, and I'm not even disrespecting Burrow. Just don't talk to me about completion percentage. This is the worst.
Not all stats are created equal.
That's a fact. All right, for all of us at the Sports Arena, again, much love to everybody. We will see y'all next Monday night, where we will be discussing the AFC East. So, as I always say, get your popcorn ready, but it probably will be the longest monologue of John Shear's life.
Next Monday.
For all of us, the Sports Reporter Without Pay, my man, co-host Ray Lynn. Forks Up, ASU Sun Devil, my brother of 16 years. Hey, tell Mama Carrots Nudo next Monday night. It's her night. We talking about the new look, green JETS, Jets. John, I'm going to ask this, and I'm going to give you a week. Can you please keep your Miami soliloquy to under 4 minutes? That's what I'm asking. 4 minutes.
Try. It's gonna be hard
because you're going to tear apart.
Depends on how much this one pokes me or that one.
Eric, I'm not gonna do nothing because I already know how it's gonna go.
Okay.
Somebody, can you tell me what were the Dolphins' record when Tua Tagovailoa was on the field? If he doesn't get hit last year, no, because remember, I told you guys, Tua has weapons. I told you he was as good as Burrow. I told you he was as good as Herbert. What did he do last year? Tell us, Ray Lynn. You like the number? He led the league in passer rating. You know why? Because he's just as good as those guys. If Tua's healthy, Miami is going to win 14 games. You know why? Because our offense is the best. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill with Tua Tagovailoa, he's going to win MVP. You can just play that next year for John. Next week, you can play that. That's John's thing right there. That's it.
I haven't said anything. It just depends on how much you guys agitate me. That's all.
I thought you didn't get agitated, John.
Hey, you poke me. You know.
All right. We will see y'all next week. Everybody stay blessed. Peace.